Hello, class. How are you today? So we're going to do Chapter 6 homework. Chapter 6 homework. We had two exercises to do. Exercise 3 and exercise 7. So let's take a look at exercise 3. Look at the topics. Determining break-even point, target profit, margin of safety. So remember how to calculate those three things. Cove's Cakes is a local bakery. Price and cost information follows. So they give us the price per cake. The selling price is $17 a cake. The variable costs. We have to add these together. $2.50 ingredients, $1.40 direct labor, 20 cents overhead. Fixed cost per month, $3,850. So look what they're asking for. Determine the break-even point in units and sales. Then determine the margin of safety if they sell 450 cakes per month. Determine the number of cakes that they have to sell to generate $2,000 in profit, right? So that's target profit, that's margin of safety, that's break-even point. Okay, so this is like last time. I didn't think you wanted just to watch me type, so I did the problems in advance, and I'll just go over them with you. So this is exercise 3, which was on page 287. And if we take to calculate the break-even point, we need to figure out what the contribution margin is. So if we take the selling price of a cake, which is $17, and the variable cost, remember we had to add those three things together. There was there were what they called it ingredients, direct labor, and overhead, right? When we add those three items together, it came out to be $4.10. $17 minus $4.10, $12.90. Now, just to go through the exercise, I did it as a percentage as well. And if I take $12.90 and put it over $17, it comes out to 0.7588. So what's the break-even point? In units, how many cakes do we have to sell to break even? Fixed cost divided by the contribution margin per unit. So if I take $3,850 and multiply it by $12.90, or divide it by $12.90, that comes out to 298.45, I think. So, you know, if it's less than 0.5, you round it down. If it's more than 0.5, you round it up. 298 cakes. We would have to sell 298 cakes to break even. In terms of dollars, if I multiply 298 cakes times $17 a cake, it comes out to $5,066. Now, just to go through the exercise, I decided to calculate break-even sales dollars by using the contribution margin ratio. So if I take fixed cost and divide it by the contribution margin ratio, that was that 0.7588. It comes out to 5073.80. It's a difference that's due to rounding. Now, what's the margin of safety? Now, the margin of safety is the current sales minus the break-even sales. Now, if we go back and look, what if they sold 450 cakes, but the break-even is 298? 450 minus 298. 450 minus 298 is 152 cakes. And if those cakes sell for $17 a piece, the margin of safety is 2,584. Target profit. If I take the fixed cost and add the target profit and divide that by the contribution margin per unit, that'll tell me how many cakes I'd have to sell to hit that target profit. So the fixed costs are 3,850. The target profit was $2,000. Again, go back and look at the problem. The target profit was $2,000. You see it? So 3,850 plus 2,000 is 5,850. And if I divide that by $12.90, that's 453 cakes rounded. 453 cakes to make that target profit of $2,000. So that was exercise 3. Exercise 7, which is a little more involved. Okay. Right, this is a 4-part problem. And part 3 has multiple parts to it. So we have to determine break-even point, analyzing changes in price and cost structure. Izzy Ice Cream has the following price and cost information. The price of a sundae, this is a company that's selling ice cream sundaes. The price of a sundae, the selling price is $5 per sundae. The variable cost per sundae, $1.35 in ingredients, 45 cents in direct labor, 20 cents in overhead. So we would have to add those 3 things together to get the total variable cost. I think it comes out to $2, right? The fixed cost per month is $3,000. What's the break-even point in units and sales dollars? So the first thing we need to figure out is what's the contribution margin per unit? The selling price of an ice cream sundae is $5. The variable cost was $2. The contribution margin is $3. Now, if I want to calculate that contribution margin ratio, I can do that. Contribution margin over selling price, 3 over 5 is 60%. So what's the break-even point in units? How many ice cream sundaes do I have to sell to break even? Fixed cost divided by contribution margin per unit. $3,000 divided by $3 equals 1,000 sundaes. 1,000 ice cream sundaes to break even. In terms of dollars, how many dollars of sales do I need to break even? 1,000 sundaes times $5 a sundae is $5,000. That's one way to calculate it. Another way to calculate it is to take the fixed cost divided by the contribution margin ratio. 3,000 divided by 0.6 is $5,000. All right, so that answers part 1. Part 2, how many sundaes have to be sold to generate a profit of 6,000? That's that target profit, right? We're going to take the fixed cost, 3,000, plus the target profit of 6. Add that together, that's 3 plus 6 is 9, and divide it by the contribution margin, which was 3, right? So here we go. Fixed cost plus target profit divided by contribution margin per unit. 3,000 plus 6,000 is 9,000. 9,000 divided by 3, 3,000 sundaes. I would have to sell 3,000 ice cream sundaes to generate that $6,000 profit. That's part 2. Part 3, calculate Izzy's new break-even point for each of the following independent scenarios. So what if the sales price decreased by 50 cents? The sales price right now is $5. What if we reduced the price to $4.50 but left everything the same? So the contribution margin now would be what? $4.50 minus $2 is $2.50. So I would take $3,000 of fixed cost divided by $2.50. I would have to sell 1,200 sundaes now to break even. 1,200 sundaes. Now remember, before we said it was 1,000, right? 1,000 sundaes, if the price is $5, if for some reason we had to lower our price, we would have to sell more to break even. Part B, what if the fixed costs decrease by $300 a month? Instead of $3,000, they would be $2,700. So the fixed cost is now $2,700. And if I divide that by the contribution margin of 3, I would have to sell 900 sundaes to break even. Right? Remember before, in the original example, I had to sell 1,000 to break even. Right? If I can get my cost down a little bit, I would need to sell less to break even. All right, now let's take a look at part C. What if the variable costs increase by 50 cents a Sunday? So that means now, instead of the variable cost being $2, they would be $2.50. If the sales price is $5 and the variable costs now are $2.50, the contribution margin, $2.50, right? Go back to the original example again. If you get confused, the original example, we said the variable costs were $2. If we raised that to $2.50, that would lower the contribution margin to $2.50 a unit. If I take the fixed cost, $3,000, and divide it by now $2.50, I would need to sell 1,200 sundaes to break even. Now let's look at part 4. Based on the original information, how many sundaes must Izzy sell to generate a profit of $10,000 if sales price increases by 50 cents and variable costs increase by 30 cents? So if sales price increased 50 cents, the new sales price would be $5.50, and if variable cost increased 30 cents, the new variable cost would be $2.30. $5.50 minus $2.30 is $3.20. The contribution margin now is $3.20. This is a target profit example, right? So we take the fixed cost, add the target profit, and divide it by the contribution margin per unit. 3,000 is the fixed cost. 10,000 is the target profit. That's a total of 13,000. 13,000 divided by $3.20 comes out to 4,063 sundaes, and that number is rounded. So that's it for chapter 6. Chapter 6 homework. Right, the next video will be on chapter 7.